It's often said that every house has its secrets. Sometimes those secrets are harmless. A loose floorboard that creaks in the night, a forgotten corner where dust has gathered over the years. But sometimes, those secrets are far darker. In 1999, a man named Hamed moved into a new home, eager to start fresh in a quiet neighborhood. Little did he know, his new home would reveal a secret so horrifying, it would change everything. What started as a simple discovery, a trapdoor in the floor, would lead Hamed to uncover something buried for decades, something he was never meant to find. This is the chilling story of Hamed and the barrel beneath the floorboards. In the summer of 1999, Hamed had just purchased his first home. It wasn't anything fancy, an older house in a quiet neighborhood, the kind of place where the paint was a little chipped and the floors creaked underfoot. But for Hamed it was perfect. A fresh start, a place to call his own. He spent his first few days unpacking, exploring the house and settling into his new life. The home was charming in its own way, with little quirks that gave it character. But one day, as Hamed was rearranging furniture in the living room, he made a discovery he couldn't explain. Beneath an old, frayed rug was something he hadn't seen during his initial walkthrough. A trapdoor hidden in plain sight. The trapdoor wasn't on the house listing. Hamed had no idea it existed, and it wasn't something the previous owners had mentioned. At first, he thought it might just be a small storage area, maybe a crawl space or a forgotten cellar. Curiosity got the better of him, and he decided to open it. The hinges groaned as he pried it open, revealing a narrow set of stairs leading down into darkness. The air that wafted up was stale, heavy, and carried a faint metallic odor. Hamed hesitated for a moment, then grabbed a flashlight and descended the creaking steps. At the bottom of the stairs, Hamed's flashlight landed on a single object. A large, rusted metal barrel sitting in the corner of the small cellar. The room was otherwise empty. No shelves, no boxes, no signs of recent use. Just the barrel, sitting there like it had been waiting for someone to find it. At first, Hamed didn't think much of it. It was just an old, dirty barrel, likely left behind by the previous owners. He figured it was probably full of junk or debris, but something about it made him uneasy. The way it sat there, perfectly centered in the corner, as if deliberately placed. Still, he shrugged it off and decided to get rid of it. The next morning, Hamed dragged the barrel out to the curb for the garbage men to take. He didn't think twice about it. But when he returned home later that evening, the barrel was still there. The garbage men hadn't taken it. At first, Hamed thought it was a mistake. Maybe they'd overlooked it. But when he inspected it more closely, he found a note taped to the side. The note was hastily scrawled in marker and read, "This looks suspicious. You should call someone." Hamed couldn't shake the feeling of unease that crept over him as he read the message. What could be inside the barrel that made even the garbage men refuse to touch it? Unable to ignore his growing curiosity, Hamed decided to open the barrel himself. He grabbed a crowbar and began prying at the rusted lid. The metal groaned and resisted, as if it didn't want to give up its secrets. After what felt like an eternity, the lid finally gave way. Inside, Hamed found a thick layer of black plastic, tied tightly around something large. The smell that escaped was overwhelming, a sickly metallic stench that made his stomach turn. With trembling hands, he pulled back the plastic, revealing something that made his blood run cold. Inside the barrel were human remains. The skeletal remains of a woman, her bones wrapped in decaying plastic and stained with time. But that wasn't all. As Hamed examined further, he noticed something else. A smaller set of bones nestled within her ribcage. It was clear she had been pregnant at the time of her death. Shaken, Hamed immediately called the authorities. Investigators determined that the remains dated back to the late 1960s. The woman had been brutally murdered before being sealed in the barrel and left to rot in the cellar. The previous owners of the house were long dead, leaving no one to answer the question. Who was she and why had she been killed? The identity of the woman and her killer remains a mystery to this day. The house, once a place of new beginnings for Hamed, became a symbol of tragedy and unanswered questions. Was the woman's death a crime of passion? A botched robbery? Or something far darker? Hamed moved out of the house shortly after the discovery, unable to shake the feeling that he had disturbed something that was meant to stay hidden. The house still stands, its trapdoor sealed, its secrets buried in the shadows. But for those who hear this story, one question lingers. What other horrors might still be hidden beneath our feet? What do you think happened to the woman in the barrel? Was this a crime of opportunity or something far more sinister? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that delve into the darkest corners of humanity. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.